Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a different type of tutorial. It's pretty different, but I'm really excited about it because I'm going to be doing kind of like a series of more in-depth tutorials on how to do like different types of makeup techniques. So today's is how to blend eyeshadow perfectly. Eye makeup has always been a passion of mine, so it had been the first thing that got me into it. I used to look at Arabic makeup looks and I used to think I really want to be able to do that, and just all the colours blending into one another. Blending is one of the hardest things to grasp about eye makeup, I think. My eye makeup has been just progressing and progressing and progressing for a really long time, and it doesn't just happen overnight, but I honestly feel like these tips which I've picked up will honestly help you. So I hope that this video helps. A lot of the time these kind of tips just go without saying, and a lot of YouTubers, including myself, almost expect you guys to know how to do it without having to say it, and I feel like I want this video to clear up all of that, and it's going to be really easy and really easy to follow, and just a lot of explaining of what I'm doing. It is a talk through, so it's going to be basically me telling you and showing you how I am blending it step by step by step, because a lot of the time we just tend to say, now you're going to blend this colour into the crease, but I'm not telling you exactly how to blend it. So I want this video to be very specific on how I get colours to blend into one another and how I get my eye makeup looks to just blend perfectly. These tips can be used for any eye makeup look. Obviously I've gone for a neutral one, but this goes for any makeup look that you ever create. I use these tips day to day, no matter what makeup look, even if it's from the most natural all the way to an extremely dramatic one using lots of black and bright colours. I still use these tips. This isn't how to create this look, this is just how to blend your eyeshadows. You can apply these techniques to any makeup look that you're going to create. It's going to be perfect for beginners, and even if you're not a beginner and you just want to brush up on your blending skills, I honestly feel like this is going to help you guys, because these are the tips that I've picked up after a really long time. So guys, I'm going to jump straight into the video. If you do want to know how to get your eyeshadow to be perfectly blended, then please just keep watching the video. So guys, as you can see, I've already started this eye, and I'm going to be showing you all the steps on this eye just here. Okay, so the first step is to make sure that you're applying a base. A base honestly really helps. If you're not applying a base underneath your eyeshadow, there are a couple of things that aren't really going to work. You have a naturally pigmented lid, so if your lid is a little bit darker, the colours aren't going to come up the same, and it's also going to interfere with the blending process. When your eyeshadow is kind of blending out, you're going to be able to see your eye's natural pigmentation coming underneath it, and we don't want that. We want to make sure that we can just basically start afresh and almost create our new eye shapes. So cancelling out your natural shadows are just going to make sure that the colours come out a lot more pigmented and that everything looks a lot more blended. The base also helps everything just to blend a lot better anyway. It makes the product stick to it a lot better, and it's going to make sure that it stays on a really long time and that it doesn't crease. The base that I'm going to be using is the soft ochre Paintpot from MAC, and I'm going to be applying this with my finger and just blending it literally all the way from my brow bone and take it all the way to my lash line. And you want to make sure that there's an even layer of this all over, and you want to blend it quite fast because this product does dry. And the warmth of your finger will almost naturally blend everything in a lot better, just because it's kind of warming up the product as you go. So the next step is that you want to make sure that the eye base isn't sticky. If the eye base feels really tacky, then the eyeshadow is going to stick to it in certain places where it's less dry, and then it's not going to stick as well on the areas that aren't as dry. Making sure that it's evenly dry is going to make sure that everything blends a lot easier. Mine is completely dry, so I just wait a couple of seconds before I apply anything else. Some people like to apply a translucent powder all over after they apply their base. I personally prefer not to do that because I do like it to be slightly tacky. I don't like it to be too matte at the same time of it being sticky, so I like it to be somewhere in the middle. But if your primer is a little bit more of a sticky formula, then you may want to go over with a translucent powder or a skin tone eyeshadow just to make sure everything is matte. One of the key things about blending your eyeshadow is making sure that you have good brushes to work with. Good brushes don't necessarily mean they have to be expensive brushes. Brands like Sigma and Zoeva are really great. They do different sets of brushes for the eyes that are recommended for different things. So if you check out both of their websites, they are amazing. I will have some links down below. It's really important to get to know your brushes. Something like this, which is a fluffy brush that isn't very dense and that will kind of move around quite a bit, isn't going to pick up as as much product. The less densely packed the brush actually is, the less product it will pick up at once. This brush is ideal for blending out the product or even for the first transition shade that you're going to use. And then also on the flip side, it is really important to get to know your eyeshadows also. If you've been playing with eyeshadows for a long time, you would know that certain brands and certain feels of eyeshadow aren't recommended for a really good blend. Certain eyeshadows can feel chalky and feel almost cheap feeling, and they don't really blend as easy as a much better quality eyeshadow. The formula that you want to look for is something that has a smooth formula that feels almost a little bit creamier than a really hard eyeshadow that feels like chalk. A chalky eyeshadow isn't going to blend that easily. The palette that I'm going to be using today is the Smashbox Full Exposure palette. This is my favorite palette, and it just has a really good range of mattes and shimmers, and they're all neutral. Especially when you're starting out, you want to get into the habit of using the lightest colour that you're going to be using in the crease first, and slowly gradually building up to the darkest colour. I'm going to start by applying the lightest colour, and I'm just going to be applying this into my crease. And what I love about doing this method is that once you've got this lightest colour, it's not too scary. You start to apply it into your crease and you know that you're going to be able to blend this out. And it's just going to be really easy to gradually build up the darker colour where you want it. Whereas if I went in straight with a black now, it would be really hard for me to blend it out. I'd have to go in with lighter colours and darker colours, and then I would just end up with a big black splodge, and that's not what we want. We want it to go from light to darker, and then in the crease we want it to be the darkest shade. So you want to precisely place the colour where you want it. You don't want to have to be blending out black and it being all the way up to your brow. So starting with the lightest colour is definitely going to help you with this. Another tip that you want to know is that you want to make sure that you're not applying too much onto your brush. So when I take it onto my brush, this is basically what I am doing. I'm patting it into the product, then I tap the excess off. It seems really stupid, but it really works. What this makes sure it does is that it's not carrying any extra product. There's not just a big chunk of eyeshadow sitting on there. It means all the product is embedded into the brush, and that means that it's going to be really easy to apply it onto the eye. Another important thing is that you want to make sure that you're using a light hand. A good tip is to hold the brush at the end of the handle. If you're holding it all the way up here, you're going to be pressing way too hard, and that is not going to make things blend really easily. Holding it at the end of the handle is just going to allow the brush to do its work, and then you can go side to side or in circular motions, whatever you feel is easier for you, and just allow the brush to blend it out. At the end of the day, when manufacturers create these brushes, they are created to blend. These fluffy brushes are gonna help you to blend out your product, and this will end up being nice and blended. You don't need to push hard. It's a myth. If you feel like you really need to dig into your eye, that is not necessary. Just literally, I'm just touching it and blending it. You really don't need to press hard. And even though you may feel like you really want to get things blended out, it's more about how fast you're going rather about how hard you're pushing. So you want to gradually build up this product. You can see I'm going very lightly, but I'm going back and forth quite quickly, and I feel like that is a lot more effective than going because that's not going to blend things out. Another huge tip is that you want to build up product gradually. You don't want to take loads of product on your brush, put it on, and then really struggle to blend it out. You want to take bit by bit by bit. I haven't gone into the darker shade yet. I've literally just stayed into that first shade that I showed you, and I'm just very gradually building up more and more in the crease so that it looks intense. And at this point, I think side to side motions help me the most, but do whatever motion you feel is most comfortable. Some people like to do the round motions like that, which I do, but I like to use that more when I'm using it in the darker colors, which I will explain to you soon. But I like to go side to side and just make sure that I'm getting it into the crease and then taking it outwards and just pulling it outwards. Of course, the shape is up to you. I'm just showing you today how to actually blend it out. But I will do other videos soon on different shapes and stuff like that. Another great tip is to have a brush that is completely clean throughout the whole application of your eye makeup. What you can use this clean brush for is just to help you blend everything out. Feel like you've taken things too high, what this will do is just help you to create a really nice soft effect. Okay guys, so we're going to go into the next shade, and like I said, I had just used this colour just here, and now I'm going to go into the slightly darker warm brown, and I'm going to be taking a similar form of brush. This is just a slightly more tapered brush. As you can see on this side, it goes from light and then it transitions into the darkest part into the crease. This is just one form of smoky eye. You don't have to go by this. I'm just showing you the method of how to actually blend it. So I'm going to be using this brush that's more tapered inwards. It almost goes into a point at the very top, and what this will do is it'll be a lot more precise, and I'll be able to apply that brown into the inner part of my crease. And again, I'm using a very, very light hand. As you can see, my hand isn't all the way up here and I'm not pushing too hard. I'm just using a really nice light hand and applying this into the crease. You don't want to take this colour all the way up again because we want this colour to blend into the colour we just applied. So you want to just go back and forth and keep it closer to the natural crease of your eye. So where your lid stops, you want to keep it closer to that point. And again, we're just using our nice light hand. And you don't want to apply too much product at once. You just want to very gradually keep building it up. And then at this point you may feel like the colours aren't blending together as much. Go back into your clean brush that has nothing on it and just help them two colours blend really nicely together. And then as you can see, everything just starts to blend into one another, and it just looks like the darker brown is starting to transition into the lighter brown, and then the lighter brown is transitioning into your natural brow colour. So it just looks like it's blending into one another. Slow and steady wins the race. Take your time with this. Don't put on too much colour at once. Next, I'm going to be going into this chocolate shade, and what this is going to do is it's going to start to create this nice dark smoky effect, and it's the same principles as the next two colours. You want to be slow with it, don't apply too much. So I'm making sure to not take too much product on my brush, and I'm also making sure to tap it off as well, just so that all the excess is taken off. I'm going to create a little bit more of a V, so I'm going to apply it onto the outer third of my eye, but like I said, I'm just showing you how to blend it. Don't worry too much about the shape because I'm going to be doing a video soon on how to create the best shape for your eye. So like I said before, I'm just going to apply some on the outer corner of my eye. And I'm just using the tip of this brush just to pull it out very slightly, but you want to go in little stroking motions. You want to go in little stroking motions just because you don't want to end up with a big fat line going that way. You want to just stroke it outwards so that it's almost tapering this colour outwards. Back into that brush that I used to apply my light brown, and just use it to very slightly blend that colour into the previous one. And don't be afraid to go back and forth between brushes because that really does help to create a really nice blend. And then again, you can go back in with your clean brush and just make sure that everything is really nice and blended together. If you want the colour to stay in a certain place and you don't want to push it up too high, what you can do is just keep your brush in that place and just round it. So just literally go in circular motions. So we're not pushing that colour upwards, we're just keeping the brush in the same place. It's almost in the socket of my eye, as you can see. And I'm just going in round motions, and what that round motion will do is blend out the product, but it won't push it up too high. Like the other motions that go back and forth like that, that is more likely to push the product upwards, whereas going like this is just going to very slightly blend the product, but not take it up too far. And when you want to build up a matte eyeshadow, I always recommend to kind of pat it on, just because patting does build up a lot more than kind of rubbing it, because rubbing it is more likely to take the product away. Okay, so once you're happy with that brown, I'm going to show you guys, just to show you how to apply the darkest colour in the world, of course, I'm going to show you how to apply a black and how to make sure that your black doesn't end up everywhere. We don't want to ruin this good work that we've done. As you can see, where we currently are is that our brow bone bone blends into the lightest brown that we applied, and then you can see that it's going into the soft brown, and then at the moment the darkest color is that dark brown we just applied, and you can see all the colors transitioning into each other. So next I'm going to be going into the black with that pencil brush, and I'm just going to be taking my black and making sure, especially because we're using a black, that we're not taking too much. We want to make sure that we're very gradually applying this, and I'm just going to apply it into the outer V of my eye, so just this V area here. It might help to look straight, but because I want you guys to be able to see, I can't, because it's going to put the mirror in front of your face. You might want to look forward just so that you can see where your crease is and where you want to apply the black, but I'm just going to be looking down just because I want you guys to get a good view of this. I don't want to apply too much. We want to make sure that we blend out this black first before we apply any more. The brush that I'm going to be using to apply this is the Zoeva 224 brush, and this is just a very slim blending brush. And like I said before, we don't want to move this product too much upwards, so I'm literally going to put the brush on the product and go in circular motions. And I'm not pressing too hard. You can go anti-clockwise or clockwise, rotate between the two. Honestly, it does help. Because as you can see, the colour is gradually blending, but it's not ending up all the way up here. Because if we were pushing it outwards, black would end up all the way up here. So we just want to keep the brush there and just go in rotating motions. And that has completely softened the black, and it's starting to look really nice and dark in the crease. So now you want to build up a little bit more black, making sure to take off the excess of the brush and just applying a little bit more onto our brush. I'm just going to be applying my lid colour. The lid colour that I'm applying is just this colour here. And then what I usually do is I don't have foundation on, but I actually do have some foundation on today. So what you can do to clean up the eyes is just apply a little bit of concealer. I'm going to be going in with my Sigma 3D HD Precision brush, and I'm just going to be using this to clean up the edge of our eyeshadow. And like I said, you can do this with no foundation on and then just clean this with a makeup wipe or some makeup remover and a Q-tip, but I'm just going to be using some concealer because it does do pretty much the same thing. So guys, I have applied the rest of my makeup. I've applied my eyeliner and my lashes. Some of the most important things is to not give up. You're not necessarily going to get it right on the first try, especially if you're a beginner. When you're starting out, you're going to have a lot of failed attempts. This is how I've picked up all of these tips. I have learned these, you know, not from listening to other people, but from just learning from my own mistakes. And you guys are going to pick up your own tips as well from making loads of mistakes. And we're all different. We all do eye makeup differently, as well as the rest of our face as well. So some of these tips might not feel natural to you, but this is just the tips that I have picked up, and these are the kind of steps that I will always take and the advice that I will always give on trying to create your perfectly blended eye. So the most important things is just to take your time. When you're getting started, don't rush your makeup, because I just feel that when you rush, you end up doing things wrong, and then you end up having to fix that. You end up spending so much time trying to fix what you messed up because you were rushing. You end up taking more time than just taking it slow. Just take the look step by step. Just break it down. Just say, okay, this is my first step, then that's the next step, then I can go back with that brush and blend this out. And just remember, practice makes perfect. I honestly can hold my hands up and say that I practiced my butt off when I was starting out. I really wanted to grasp it, and if you put your mind to anything, you can 100% achieve it. So even if you just want to do makeup for fun, or if you're doing makeup for your career, this is going to benefit you. Just keep at it, don't give up, and I promise you it will work out. If you want to see any other technical skills in depth, then please do write down in the comments below what kind of videos you would like to see. I am here to teach you guys and to teach you what I've learned in my time of being a makeup artist. If you guys enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, because it honestly helps me out so much. The subscribe button that will be just below this video, as it's going to help me out as well. You won't miss out on any of my videos, and don't forget I upload 3 times a week, so you will see my face 3 times a week. Without any further ado, I'm gonna let you guys go from this extra long video. I can't wait to see you guys in my next video, and I will talk to you later. Bye! Bye!